W04 and we are up against HCMA. Today my team will be Kitty Pryde, Omega Sentinel and White Magneto. I'm gonna be taking Path 7 in Section 1, Nick Fury on Mixmaster, Path 5 in Section 2 as well as the Doctor Doom shared fight, King Groot, Green Goblin and Rintrah mini-bosses. I'm not gonna be taking the boss this time, we're gonna be using a Quicksilver for that. And if you're wondering why I don't have the Digress synergy for Kitty Pryde, that's because they actually banned her. And when I asked about it, they did it just to mess with me, so yeah, it's not really an issue. It makes Kitty slightly more annoying to play, but all in all, she's just as powerful. Up first is a Human Torch on Conflictor, and this is a very simple Kitty fight. She is Incinerate immune, so even if I happen to eat or block his specials, that doesn't do anything to Kitty. The Smolders may try to trigger Incinerates on me, but that only makes me hit harder with my specials. So yeah, you just basically hit him until he drops, that's all there is to it. As for dealing with his specials, I do try to dex them whenever I can, but facing them and blocking them is just fine. If you face them, all it does is do damage to him and you lose a couple prowess, but again, it's a Human Torch and you're Incinerate immune. There is no risk in doing so. I am boosted for these fights, because we did decide to try to win this one. Next up is a vivified Terrax, and this is probably one of the easiest and most fun Kitty fights that I know of. Since Terrax becomes hyper aggressive while his rock field is up, and he can't get his power drained in this fight due to vivified, he will stay in the rock field for the whole fight. So basically that means you can always land your phase intercepts, he will not dash back and block any hits, he will always try to punch you. So you'll just be phased for the whole fight, you regen back from willpower due to the recoil masteries and the armor breaks, and there is literally no risk of dying. So if you're having trouble with that placement, I highly suggest using Kitty. She is by far the best option. Next up we've got a Nick Fury on Mixmaster node, and I will use Kitty Pryde here with the White Magneto pre-fight. Now without the Tigra synergy, this fight does take a lot longer than it normally does. At its base, this is a normal Nick Fury fight with Kitty Pryde. So all you really need to do is just not use your specials to keep your prowess up, and when Nick Fury throws his special one, you look at his tactical charges. If he is above 5, you dash at him and just eat it into your face. It doesn't do any damage, because Kitty Pryde doesn't take any damage while facing, so you basically get free healing from the Disorient debuff. Do keep in mind that while it's up, you can't always land your parries. At this point the fight is getting a little bit scary, since Nick Fury is stacking up his prowess passives. If I fail to face even one of his specials, I'm most likely dead. And with the invulnerability boost already consumed from eating an earlier special one, there really is no safety net besides my face. So Nick Fury is getting very close to his second life here, but I make a mistake and land a bunch of free parries in a row that removed Nick Fury's tactical charges. That means that this special one, I wouldn't be able to face it. It would just go through me and consume my prowess. So I went ahead and dexed most of it. You really need to keep your eye on his tactical charges for situations like that. Now that Nick Fury is left at exactly 15 tactical charges, I have a slight problem. At exactly 15 charges, he can still throw his special one, and when he does, he resets his charges, which means that I can't eat his special one again or I lose my prowess. So, I wanted to slow this down here. He has 10 prowess when he goes and throws the special one, and just one blocked hit did 3,500 damage. Seeing his prowess when he threw that special one, I was scared I was gonna die. So I did what I could and dexed out after the first blocked hit, dashed at him to face the rest of his special one, and just barely managed this fight without dropping an attack bonus. Next up is a Kitty Pryde on Ebb and Flow Intercept, and I will be using Omega Sentinel. I am not choosing a pre-fight here, so that Omega Sentinel will start in her Cowardice debuff mode. Having a constant Cowardice effect on Kitty Pryde completely shuts her down. She can't gain any prowess, she loses all prowess that she had, she won't have unblockable specials, she has nothing. In my opinion, the best way to deal with Kitty Pryde is to bait her special one, block the first part of the fire breath and dex the last two. Doing that will make Kitty consume all of her prowess, no matter who you fight her with. Next up is a Sersi on Ebb and Flow Intercept, and I'm using Kitty Pryde with the White Magneto pre-fight. Normally I would be using Tigra here, but again she is banned this war, so Kitty will do. I used the White Magneto pre-fight to make building prowess a lot easier on this fight. Since it has the Mighty Charge node, I can't land my parries otherwise. And I could go for re-parries, but Sersi is very happy with throwing her heavy attacks whenever she has the opportunity to do so, so I'd rather not deal with that. She also does have the Conduit global, which makes this even more annoying than it already is. My game plan is basically just remove the Ebb and Flow protection, wait out the glancing buff, and drop big special 2s. It's a little slow, but it'll get the job done. I do have a mutant power boost on, in the hopes of speeding up this fight, but it actually ends up making this a lot slower than it could have been. At one point I have to throw my special 2, because I don't want to get pushed to my special 3. The special 3 inflicts a very long incinerate passive or a debuff depending on if you're facing or not, and since Sersi has Conduit, that's a very bad time. Sersi would be regening back 80% of any and all damage she is taking for the whole duration of that incinerate effect, not to mention that the incinerate effect can actually re-trigger itself at the end of its duration. So you'd look at like 1.5 minutes of just waiting it out. Just one more well-timed special 2 and Sersi will go down. Then we have this Dr. Doom on Ebb and Flow Intercept. I'm using Omega Sentinel here and starting the fight with the heal block debuff. And just as a disclaimer, do not take this fight. Never ever even think about taking this fight with Omega Sentinel. It's not a great idea, let me tell you that much. So the idea with this matchup was that since Omega Sentinel is immune to Nullify, Doctor Doom wouldn't be able to inflict his shocks on me in any way, because he needs to nullify a buff on me to inflict a shock. However, there is one small thing that I knew about but I had forgotten. And that's the fact that armor breaks are coded as nullify effects in the game's code. For some reason. And that essentially means that whenever the crumbling armor node triggers, I will get shocked every time. And since Omega Sentinel is a robot, she can't regen with willpower. So yeah, I'm gonna be ticking down a lot from those shocks. So the weird part here is that since Doctor Doom needs to nullify a buff on the opponent, or hit them with a medium attack to inflict that shock debuff, why does it count the armor breaks as a nullify effect for Doom's abilities, but not Omega Sentinel's abilities? Why is she getting the shock if it's counting it as a nullify? So I already knew that this fight was gonna be slow with the ebb and flow protection combined with the mighty charge, meaning that I can't keep my incinerate or heal block debuffs up for that long. So yeah, it's gonna be a slow fight. I knew that going in. But now I'm also racing against the clock, trying to kill Doom before I drop from the shock. So I land an intercept and go for my special 3 to inflict those incinerate debuffs on Doom, as well as to do some good damage. I was hoping he wouldn't dash straight at me after it, but of course he did. So again, back to the slow fight. So going in, I did use an invulnerability boost just in case I got clipped, but that was basically my only concern with this fight. I was not expecting I would be getting shocked the entire fight. Here I did actually mess up the Dex on Doom's special 2, but Omega Sentinel's auto-block saved my life. Then, trying to go for a light intercept to remove the protection, I miss it and get clipped. I would have died there as well, had I not used the invulnerability boost at the start. That is 2 mistakes, 2 potential KOs, but I guess luck was on my side this time. I still keep ticking down from those shocks, and it's not looking that great. At the very least, if I do solo this, I will have to use some potions, because this is not the last fight that I have with Omega Sentinel. I go for another special 3, again hoping that he wouldn't dash straight at me, and this time he doesn't. He throws his special 2, which allows the incinerates to take him down a bunch before he can shrug them off. It has been a very long fight, a very scary one, but I will get the solo here. And Kabam, please fix your game. You're fixing neutralize, but you can't fix armor breaks. Get your priorities straight. So yeah, that interaction cost me a couple big potions, which does really suck. I was gonna be saving those for the next season. Next up is King Groot on the Safeguard miniboss, and I'm gonna be using Omega Sentinel here with the heal block debuff. Now, I wasn't really quite sure about this fight at first, but after giving it some thought, I came up with a plan. I'm gonna rush to my special 3, use it for the incinerate debuffs, while King Groot has his regen buff active. During that time he cannot shrug any debuffs, so the incinerates should land just fine. After doing that, I need to get a heal block debuff on him as well, so that the conduit region will get completely blocked. After that, all I need to do is finish all my combos with light attacks, so that I keep the incinerates and the heal block debuff paused for the rest of the fight. As long as I time everything right and get my debuffs up while King Groot doesn't have his fury buffs active, he cannot shrug them off. So now all I need to do is wait out the furies and use my special 3. Then is the hard part and getting an intercept in before the furies come back, so I can get the heal block going as well. And I landed on the first attempt. Now King Groot is taking all that incinerate damage and he can't reach him back any of it, even though he is a conduit defender. So the fight is basically over. Now I'm waiting special ones, finishing my combos with light attacks, and the debuffs do all the work. It is a slightly tricky matchup, because you do have to get an opening in and during the unblockable phase to get that heal block up, but other than that it's a very simple and a fun fight. I would recommend Omega Sentinel as a good counter for it. So next up is a green Goblin on the Stunning Reflection mini-boss node, and I'm using Omega Sentinel starting with the heal block debuff. The game plan is very simple. All I need to do is get the heal block debuff up and keep it up. If it drops, all I need to do is get another one up. Omega Sentinel has the highest base attack rating in the game, so when you have recon masteries and boosts on, she hits very hard. So even though I'm only doing normal combos here, this is gonna be a fairly fast fight. I am gonna play this fight a little bit recklessly. I'm going for intercepts when I don't need to, because Green Goblin is a noodle. Even if I get clipped, he's not gonna do anything. And this is the last Omega Sentinel fight for this war, so I wouldn't have to heal up anyways. But in doing so, I did come across a cool little interaction with Omega Sentinel and the Stunning Reflection node. At 10 armor ups, Omega Sentinel can auto-block the opponent's basic attacks, which stuns the opponent with the parry mastery, and also inflicts a Incinerate debuff on them. The Incinerate debuff triggers first, which then disables the Stunning Reflection, after which the parry stun triggers, stunning the opponent. So that's a nice little way to get more damage in. It's very useful. I will be using it later. And now, knowing that, Omega Sentinel just became an even more powerful counter for this node. Then for my last fight of this war, Rintrah on the Brute Force mini-boss node. I'm using Pryde with the White Magneto pre-fight. The White Magneto pre-fight is only here so that I can build up my prowess faster. The passive stun itself doesn't really help me here at all. So the easiest and simplest way I know to fight against Rintrah is to bait his special 1 and punish it with your heavy attack to knock him down. Knocking him down like that causes him to lose his charges, so you don't really have to worry about his abilities. The spacing I use to punish his special 1 with my heavy attacks is simply just get away from him as far away as you can when he starts the animation, wait for him to start dashing at you, dash back once more, and then just throw your heavy attack. It should work with most champions, but before trying it in war with your desired champion, I do suggest actually testing it out in duels. So I did end up playing this fight a little bit recklessly as well, and that caused me to make a bit of a mistake here. When I dash in to throw my special 2, I'm not at 10 prowess yet, so it's not unblockable. I end up throwing it into his block. This time I did not get punished from doing so, since I was still phasing after my special, but it could have ended bad. Just need to throw out this one more special 2 to finish out my war. No lost attack bonuses this war, but it came pretty close. So, like I said at the start of this video, we did try to push for a win here, and we did actually win it. 16 to 10.